and preparations by INEC and all stakeholders for the polls are in top gear. In Ondo State, the Resident Electoral Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Rufus Akeju, says they have taken delivery of 3,933 bimodal voter accreditation system beavers ahead of the 2023 elections. U.S. President Joe Biden has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his efforts geared towards deepening democracy in Nigeria and across Africa. President Biden gave this commendation during his meeting with leaders of 6 African countries built to have elections in 2023. And on the interview segment for today, we examine the challenge of retaining power by the All Progressives Congress APC in 2023 with the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo, who is also the spokesperson for the Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress APC, as our guest. Welcome to Politics Tonight. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Resident Electoral Commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Ondo State, Rufus Akeju, has announced that they have taken delivery of 3,933 bimodal voters accreditation system ahead of the 2023 elections. Akeju, who disclosed this at a press briefing in Akure, the state capital, said the commission has taken delivery of both sensitive and non-sensitive materials in the state. He expressed, or rather explained, that more polling units have been created in the state for easy access for the electorate and the commission to serve the people better. According to him, INEC has put in place measures to prevent cronies of politicians from being engaged as ad hoc staff for the election.
As of October 2022, in Ondo State, is 1,848,516. Total permanent voters distributed as of 31st October 2022 is 1,531,974. Now, plus or minus, a cautionary note here. Some of these big numbers I'm giving you, there may be those who come to change their card because it's defaced.
And let's get to Oyo State, where candidates and chieftains of the All Progressives Congress had advised the electorate to be peaceful in the process of voting for their preferred candidates during the 2023 elections. They gave their advice at a sensitization walk organized by the APC in Ogbomoso, Oyo State. Stevenson News correspondent Olaide Oyewole reports.
Ahead of the polls in 2023, leaders of the All Progressives Congress have continued to seek support of the people, and this time around, it's in Ogbomoso town in Oyo State. The rally is part of the party's strategy to mobilize supporters, as well as present the candidates vying for different positions under the platform of the APC in the state. The party leaders say they remain undeterred to take over power from the ruling party, People's Democratic Party, judging by what they termed their abysmal performance.
We'll win. Trust me. Take it to the bank. We'll win. They haven't done well, and they're very inexperienced in politics. 80% of the politicians in Oyo State are in APC. And you can see that even some of our aggrieved leaders, like former Deputy Governor Alake, they're all here today.
Personally, I have a style. I don't discuss opposition. I don't discuss people. I discuss issue. I would rather reframe the question this way. APC, what are you coming to do that is better than what you have seen? Oh, brilliant. I prefer.
We are very happy because our people appreciate the quality of qualitative leadership. They've tried one leadership over the last 3.5 years, and because of their disappointment, because they don't have anything to show from the PDP government of Oyo State over the last 3.5 years, they are saying enough is enough.
Other candidates want the party's supporters to be advocates of peace and protect their votes, even as they vote in their preferred candidates.
Please come out and vote, and no violence, please. Let's just come out and vote for your preferred candidates. Now I'm campaigning for APC. Come out and vote for APC. Come out and vote for it from top to bottom. But most importantly, please, no violence.
We have our role also to play in the society. I will advise that they should look at our antecedents and use it to judge us.
The Oyo APC says it would take its message of renewed hope to every nook and cranny of the state and ask residents to come out and exercise their franchise devoid of violence and mischiefs on election days. Olaide Oyewole, TVC News, Ogbomoso.
U.S. President Joe Biden has commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his efforts in deepening democracy in Nigeria and across Africa. President Biden gave this commendation during his meeting with leaders of 6 African countries built to have elections in 2023. President Biden also encouraged President Buhari and the Nigerian electoral umpire to continue to have non-partisan. The U.S. president said the meeting with the selected African leaders, including those of Democratic Republic of the Congo, Gabon, Liberia, Madagascar, and Sierra Leone, is to discuss elections and democracy in Africa. President Buhari expressed appreciation to the U.S. president for his positive remarks and thanked him for organizing the summit with the African leaders. All right, let's take a short break, and when we return, it will be time to speak with the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo, who is also the spokesperson for the Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. And now to our interview with the guest of the day. I am now joined by the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo, who is also the spokesperson for the Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Keyamo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, SAN, and fellow of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, is a lawyer, columnist and human rights activist. He began his legal career in 1993 at the Ganiu Fawayemi Chambers in Lagos before leaving to establish Festus Keyamo Chambers. In April 2018, Keyamo was appointed as the Director of Strategic Communications of the 2019 re-election bid of President Muhammadu Buhari. He was appointed the Minister of State for Niger Delta in 2019 before he was redeployed to the Ministry of Labor and Employment by President Muhammadu Buhari. Keyamo was named by the Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee in July 2017 as one of the outstanding Nigerian lawyers to be awarded the rank of SAN. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right. You're a lawyer turned politician, or rather, let me say lawyer come politician. How are you balancing the act?
I'm a lawyer in politics.
So
I prefer to put it that way.
All right, so how are you balancing the act?
Well, my profession as a lawyer and the fact that I've practiced law to the highest level actually, prepared me, for the roles I have been given to play both as minister and then this role I also play, advocating for my party. For the past 30 years as a lawyer, I have been a litigation lawyer. I've been going in and out of courts every single day, and so advocacy has been part of my life. And so what I'm doing now, advocating for my party and trying to sell my party to Nigerians, is just part of what I've been doing in the last 30 years. Only that this time around, I have used those skills to try to sell my party and my candidate to Nigerians. So it's actually part of what I've been doing in the last 30 years. Again, issues that have come up in the course of our campaigns, legal issues that have come up in the course of our campaigns, I have, by the grace of God, used my personal knowledge to try to help the campaign and to educate the Nigerian people as to some of these issues that have arisen. Luckily enough, of course, because of my training as a lawyer, these issues that they have brought into the campaign trail, issues regarding my candidate, issues regarding legality of some of the things that have happened in my party, luckily, apart from being a spokesperson, I have used my personal knowledge to try to help my party and my candidate to, to paddle through some of these turbulent issues.
All right, as a lawyer, as a human rights lawyer and activist, many Nigerians feel you have lost touch with the masses after joining government. How will you react to this?
No, I think it's a complete misconception of what we do when we are in government that misleads the people to come to such conclusions. The greatest effort you can make, the biggest effort you can make to help the masses of the country is when you have access to public office, access to power to try to make things happen for them. There are things that you try to do in 15 years when you are outside power, when you're not within the corridors of power, that you can achieve for the masses in exactly 5 minutes. I mean it, 5 minutes instead of 15 years. Why do I say 5 minutes? I'm a member of the Federal Executive Council. I have the opportunity every week to speak on behalf of the Nigerian people inside that chambers. Because of my training, because of my trajectory, because of my antecedent, because of my background, of course, I bring all of that to bear on memos that are brought before the council. Because of my training also as a lawyer, because of my deep knowledge, of constitutional law, and also because of my years of being a prosecutor for the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in this country, I have used all of this personal knowledge I have gathered. I have brought it to bear, on my position as a cabinet member. And so, instead of screaming from one radio station to TV station for 15 years trying to make my point, if the president recognizes me when I raise my hand in council to make my point, and in 3-5 minutes I make my point, and the president accepts the point I've made and rules in favor of me, I have achieved a lot for the Nigerian people in just 5 minutes. That is how it is. So people should realize that being in government is one of the biggest, favor, you can do, especially when you are pro-masses. One of the biggest favors you can do to the masses of the country. So it is better, really, to have people who have fought on the side of the masses, people who come from what they call in our climb, the radical social activists. It is better, for you to be inside that chambers, inside government, so that you can, bring all your years of, experience to bear. And the fact that you feel the pulse of the people, the fact that you are coming from the very grassroots, the fact that you are coming from civil society, it is better to have someone inside there that can speak on behalf of the Nigerian people rather than all of us being out of the place.
All right. Let's get to your party, the APC. Many Nigerians remain dissatisfied with the performance of the APC government. What do you think the administration has done differently to deserve to be returned to power in 2023?
Well, these are some of the narratives that at times I disagree with, because in a subliminal manner you have used the word many Nigerians. I hope by many Nigerians you don't mean majority of Nigerians. Yes, some Nigerians may be dissatisfied, especially the opposition, who know the truth, but they bury the truth because they want to push a particular narrative. But I can tell you that the situation we find ourselves today is basically about the same position we found ourselves in 2019. So I want you to realize that we have tested this narrative in 2019. This narrative of we have performed poorly, Nigerians are angry with us, we have also tested it in 2019. What happened? 15 million Nigerians were happy with us. 11 million Nigerians were not happy with us. That was the result of 2019. Because it's only the ballot box that can tell you how many Nigerians are happy with you, are giving you another chance to give them your services. So please, I want to say clearly that the narrative of majority of Nigerians, or using many Nigerians in the sense that majority of Nigerians want us out, is not correct. The only way we can test that is to go to the ballot box. So yes, there are tough situations we have passed through. Yes, there are difficult times we have passed through. Yes, we have tried to explain to Nigerians, not excuses. Explanation is different from excuses. We have tried to explain to Nigerians why we have excelled in the face of these difficult circumstances. Many Nigerians, and I dare say majority of Nigerians, have bought into that. They have accepted our explanation. And that is why, even in midterm elections, we won midterm elections. We won Kogi. Between the last election now, we won Kogi, we won Ekiti. And we won a few of senatorial and House of Rep elections across the country. We lost a few too. But of course, that means, of course, that some Nigerians are listening to us. Some may not buy our explanations. In 2023, we are going to test it again at the polls to see just how many Nigerians are willing to give us a second chance. But I please disagree with you that it is virtually majority of Nigerians that do not accept, that think we have not done well. Many Nigerians also think we have done well.
In that regard, what then do you consider as the biggest achievement or the big achievements of the APC administration in core areas, especially security, infrastructure, and the economy?
I want to say that the biggest achievements of the APC government, and why the country should give us another chance again to continue, to build on the legacies of President Muhammad Buhari, is that in the face of very difficult circumstances, in the face of lesser resources than our predecessors, we have more to show for so little that we earned. We have more to show in terms of infrastructural development. And even in areas like power, where perhaps the effects have not been felt fully, the foundation has been laid. And it is the next government that will see the benefit of what we have done in certain areas. For example, the Zungeru and Kashimbila, hydro power plants have been commissioned. That is going to bring about 4,000 megawatts back into the national grid. In the last 8 years, or 7 years plus, we have succeeded in bringing about 8,000 more megawatts into the national grid. The problem has also, of course, always been the issue of distribution. But before you address the issue of distribution, you have to also address the issue of power generation. So a lot has been done, even in the power sector, in terms of infrastructure that the next government will benefit from. Of course, the very obvious ones are what you are seeing, the rail, the roads across the country. It has been tremendous. These infrastructural developments surpasses the 16 years of PDP before we took over. So imagine what we have achieved in 7.5 years in the face of dwindling resources. In the face of dwindling resources in the past 7.5 years. Imagine what we would have achieved, or what we can achieve in 16 years if we surpassed PDP's achievement in terms of infrastructure. Tell me one rail line that was established in 16 years of PDP that was initiated, started, and completed. Even the only one they started, whilst they were in power in 16 years, which was the Abuja-Kaduna rail, they still could not finish it. Despite all the monies they earned from oil, it was President Buhari that came and also finished that. Imagine the second Niger bridge that was just an architectural, drawing on the table. For 16 years, they could not put one stone on the ground. In 7.5 years, the bridge was opened today, and it has been opened to members of the public. And you see, President Buhari is a silent achiever. Just imagine that a monumental project like that, one of the most expensive he has done throughout his tenure, it's open today without fanfare, without trying to score a political point. In fact, he's even far away in America Wise, he said, they should open it for use. No fanfare, no attempt to score a political point out of it. But that is the kind of person President Muhammadu Buhari is. There are so many achievements of this administration that Nigerians would see the benefit of, that Nigerians will begin to appreciate President Buhari once he exits power next year. It is countless. The number of roads, the number of infrastructure we have developed, that is one of the key areas that this president will be very proud of, this administration will be very proud of.
All right, maybe I should go by your choice of words, or maybe I should not. But then, many young people are still disenchanted with the APC administration. I would like to know, what is the party's message for young Nigerians?
Well, I don't know, the young people you are talking about, I see millions of them in our youth department of the APC. So this same narrative of young people are against the APC, I just don't think it's correct. Yes, some young people outside our party who are in opposition, because they don't know the trajectory of political development in Nigeria, they may express certain negative thoughts and expressions against us, really. But I want to say that if they take time to open up their minds and just listen to us, I just want them to listen to us to say, look, where we are coming from and where we find ourselves now is a massive improvement. There was a government for 16 years before we took over. If they sit down before you, I'm still willing to have a very decent debate before the election, maybe not now, but just before the elections, with some of them, some of the most credible, some of them who are, credible enough to sit down to talk with some of us. And I would say that the things they pride themselves on that happened under 16 years of the PDP, they were not exceptional achievements at all. Some will tell you that, oh, they were the ones who introduced GSM. Please excuse me, GSM? GSM was a technological revolution across the world at that time when they came to power in 1999. Even the smallest, most poorest country in the world, they also adopted the GSM around that period of between 1999, 2000 and 2001.
So you said that is not an achievement? It was an
exceptional achievement that they brought GSM into Nigeria. It was a worldwide technological revolution happening. In fact, Nigeria came late to the party. Go and find out what happened. Nigeria came late to the party at that time. Now, they also tell you that they were the ones who founded EFCC. Excuse me, EFCC? EFCC was also a revolution happening around the world, because what happened was that the American government and the Western powers, they had this template called the Money Laundering Act, and they passed it around all their allies around the world at that period too. They passed it, they gave it to Kenya, they gave it to South Africa. They said, look, for you to be accepted in the Committee of Nations as serious to fight corruption, you have to adopt these laws, money laundering laws, anti-corruption laws. They just gave them a template. So we adopted those templates and formed the EFCC as a result of international demands at that time. It was not exceptional. It was not a brilliant idea by the PDP government. What again can they talk about? Let's talk about another innovation they talked about. They said there was debt forgiveness, that they wrote off our debt. I am sorry. Everybody should look at what they call the Jubilee 2000. It was a movement of poor countries across the world, in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America. They called it the Jubilee movement. The Jubilee movement was to put pressure on the Western world and all these financial institutions around the world to write off the debts of poor countries across the world. It was not an initiative of PDP. It was not an initiative of any PDP government or the government at that time. It was a movement, a Jubilee 2000 movement, by which the Paris Club and many of them responded and wrote off the debts. But what happened? Even when they wrote off the debts, they started accumulating again. Before they left, they had accumulated far more than was ever written off again and handed over to the APC. So there was nothing exceptional. We want the youth to understand where we are coming from, so they don't tell them lies. Many of them did not experience any of this. And that is why we are here to bust their lies before these young ones. And the young ones should understand that we have made tremendous improvements from where we found ourselves, 7.5 years ago.
All right. The Chatham House outing by your principal, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, continues to elucidate reactions. Was it right to delegate answering of questions?
Pardon me?
Your principal, your reaction talking about the Chatham House outing where your principal delegated answering of questions to his team members. So I'm asking, was it right to have delegated answering of questions to other people?
Well, let me, you see, I've heard all kinds of ignorant comments about this issue since it happened, but let me explain it thoroughly to Nigerians. When you go to Chatham House, you are not going to engage in a debate. You are not going to engage in an exercise where they want to test your oratorial skill, or they want to test how brilliant and how clever you are to answer questions. It is just how are you going to handle certain issues regarding policy issues and all that regarding your proposed government. Now, let me explain this. When you are asked questions at that level, you are expected to answer the question as president. What are you going to do as president? Not what are you going to do as candidates. Now, so when they ask you, Mr. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, what are you going to do regarding APC as president? You therefore need to respond as president. How do you respond? Those who have answered, those who have been making uninformed comments, they don't understand how government works. I am in cabinets. When an issue comes up in cabinets, the president is the last to speak. A leader, a good leader must hear the views of his lieutenants before he makes the last comment. So even when memos come before Mr. President, when suggestions or proposals come before Mr. President, do you think Mr. President takes his biro and then in a know-all fashion, he just minutes on it and gives directives? He doesn't. He will minute it to the minister in charge or the head of the agency to hear their comments. And in many cases, the chief of staff will now make an executive brief and then make his suggestion. And then the president makes his final decision. That is how government is run. So when you ask Asiwaju, for example, in Chatham House, what are you going to do about oil theft? The first thing he assumes is that he is president now. He wants to hear his lieutenants make comment on this. And guess what happened? I want you to go back to that tape. After they made those comments about catching those who are stealing the oil and all of that, what did Asiwaju say? He made the final comment. He said, gentlemen, you have not even addressed the issue of the people who received the stolen items. That is presidential. Because he's now making a final decision on it that he thinks that we need to pay attention more to those who receive it, because there cannot be oil theft without the people receiving it. That is what he said in Chatham House. So he was acting as president. Now listen, I've heard all kinds of ignorant comments. I see them online saying that, so when you are a medical student, for example, and you are asked to come and answer questions about how you are going to carry out an operation on a patient, you are going to call on that medical student to answer. You are comparing oranges and apples. Being a medical student and that scenario you have just mentioned is not the same as being president. Because if you are a medical student or a lawyer or a student of anything, you are asked questions, you are expected to answer it yourself. But as a professional, but the president is not a professional. I want to repeat it again. They can go and make fun of it and make memes out of it, but the president is not a professional. The president rather listens to professionals.
All right, but some persons said it could have...
Because the president cannot be an expert in all areas. He cannot. He must listen to experts. And when he listens to experts, he must have the.
All right, but some persons have said he could have given a bit of information about the topics before allowing some of his team members to answer, rather than just delegating answers to them directly.
That he should have let the public know. I don't understand that question.
That he should have given a bit of information about the questions asked, so that people can know, or Nigerians can see, that he truly understands these questions, rather than allowing his team members to answer those questions directly.
No, you don't understand what I said. You are just going back to making the mistake of what I said. The president must speak last. in council, let me tell you the danger of a president speaking first. Let me tell you the danger of a leader speaking first. The danger of a leader speaking first is that you intimidate your lieutenants. You intimidate your advisors. Go and look at the provision of the Constitution. People have been talking about delegating function under Section 148. No, I think they are even getting it wrong about delegating function. This is not about delegating function. I beg to disagree. People have been trying to, even my own, my people, on our side, they have been using delegation of function to justify it. I am not using Section 148.1 to justify. I am using Section 148.2 to say the president shall appoint advisors who will advise him on key issues. That exactly is what the president did. That is exactly what the candidate did. Because as candidate, he's asked to say what he will do as president. Let me tell you this. Short of saying that when they ask him a question about a particular subject, short of saying that, well, in dealing with this issue as president, I would love to listen to my advisors first. Short of saying so, he practically demonstrated it. It would have been easier for him to tell the public that, well, as president, to deal with this issue, I would love to listen to my lieutenants before taking a final decision. But he did not say so. He just practically demonstrated it. So when they ask you questions, I repeat again for the opt-in time, when they ask you questions in such a policy institute, they want you to answer the question or deal with it as if you were president. And that is what Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu did.
All right. Related to that also, two of your colleagues in the Presidential Campaign Council have been accused of bullying the press by a media company. As a lawyer, what's your view on this?
Well, I beg to disagree, with that expression of bullying the press. Now, there are so many dimensions to this, and I just want to take some time to explain this before Nigerians. Now, what is going on, and I think in subsequent elections, this matter is going to come more into the public limelight, this issue of the conflict between certain persons who want to behave as if they are the moral barometer by which we shall judge our electoral process or not, is that we are moving away from a situation where the traditional media or the orthodox media held sway regarding the exclusivity to inform Nigerians or to reflect the views of Nigerians. That was the duty, that has always been the traditional duty of the press, that they are the guardians of the public conscience. They reflect the views of the generality of Nigerians. And so when they call you for a debate, they are supposed to reflect the views of Nigerians and they use to answer those questions for Nigerians to be satisfied. However, we are in a transitional period in terms of global communications, access to communication. Now, the traditional and orthodox media does not have that exclusivity again. So what you are seeing beyond the underground tone in all of this is that the traditional media, and I'm sorry I'm going to disappoint my friends like you too, like my friends in other media houses, I'm disappointing them, but I apologize, is that they are fighting for their lives now. Why? Because they no longer hold the 4 aces. For me to reach Nigerians, for me to pass my message across, I need the traditional media, but they don't hold the 4 aces. I don't have to depend on the traditional media again because communication is now open across. Technology has opened the space. Now, who is a journalist who is supposed to be the conscience of the nation? Before, it used to be that, traditionally in those days, we saw journalists in our heads as people who sitting down there and holding the microphone every morning and before the cameras. They were the custodian of that mandate of the people. However, everybody that owns a media, a handle now, a social media handle, is a journalist. I'm sorry to say it. Why? Because you have not pushed journalism to a point where it is a closed profession. Of course, it's a profession, but it is not a closed profession like law, like medicine, like engineering, where outsiders are not allowed to just come in, you read anything, and you just stand in front of a camera every morning, and then you say you are a journalist, and you say you are a conscience of the people. You are not. There's no professionalism again. There's no, can you report anybody? Do they have a regulatory body. Yes, there's a press council and all that. But yet, do they have the right to withdraw license from somebody now to say you can no longer appear before a camera in the next 10 years, like they can suspend a lawyer, or you can no longer disseminate information by any means again, you are suspended as a journalist. There's no avenue to do that. Therefore, anybody who can reach as many people as possible now with information is a journalist. So what then now gives that a particular station a moral high ground over other avenues by which we can reach Nigerians? What makes them the barometer of testing whether somebody has responded to public inquiry? Because what they are saying is that, well, the narrative is that unless you come and talk through us, you have not respected the Nigerian people. And they have brought some commentators, some caricature commentators to push that narrative that they are disrespecting the Nigerian people. So those people you see in town hall meetings, are they disrespecting them? Is Ashiwaju disrespecting those people that are in town hall meetings? Even in a Twitter space now, I can open a Twitter space now, 20,000 people can join, 10,000 people can join, and they're all asking questions and I'm answering them. That is even more democratic than going to sit before one journalist who pretends to represent generality of Nigerians, whereas he has his own personal biases. He has his own personal biases. I can go on a Facebook page, live broadcast on a Facebook page now, and I get more viewership, more feedback from Nigerians than even a particular TV station. So please, nobody should push that before us again, that they are still the moral barometer by which we can test whether we have respected the Nigerian people or not. I am sorry. I apologize to my friends who are journalists, but I disagree. I disagree.
Honorable
That
Minister.
is why, especially, of course, when you know that those people who are pretending to represent the public conscience, they themselves have biases. They are either the former members of political parties, they are either, sympathizers of political parties, they have shown their bias in the past, and then you now want me to appear before them as arbiters. And while they pretend to be arbiters, every single day, they exercise what they call the tyranny of the microphone. What's the tyranny of the microphone and the camera? Because you have access to microphone and camera every morning, you make prejudicial comments, you pass judgment on my candidate, you abuse him, and tomorrow you now pretend to say you're an arbiter, he should come before you. I am sorry. I will not expose my candidate to such a hostile environment. I am sorry. You see, the fact that my candidate is running for office does not mean that I will now make him genuflect before every single Tom, Dick, and Harry for him to get votes. There is what they call dignity of human person. While my candidate should be respectful to Nigerians, my candidate should be extremely humble, but he will not genuflect before all Tom, Dick, and Harry because he wants to prove to Nigerians that he is respecting, his so-called respecting the Nigerian people. He has other means by which he wants to reach he can reach the Nigerian people. All right.
But then, Honorable Minister, I strongly do not agree with you that every person who is on social media is a journalist. But then that's a discussion for another day. We'll definitely continue this conversation after this break. Please stay with us.
In the month of December, on the 1st, it is World AIDS Day. On the 3rd, attention shifts to persons living with disabilities. And December 9th is dedicated to International Anti-Corruption Day. 10th is Human Rights Day, while the 11th is the 2nd anniversary of the abduction of over 300 students in Kankara, Katsina State. On the 12th of December, the World Health Organization dedicates the day as Universal Health Coverage Day. On the 17th of December, the abducted Kankara boys were freed 6 days after. 18th of December is set aside as International Migrants Day. It is the last month of the year. Brace yourself for an interesting December. Stay with TVC News.
Welcome back to Politics Tonight, and I still have with me the Honorable Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Festus Keyamo. He's also the spokesperson for the Presidential Campaign Council of the All Progressives Congress. All right, Honorable Minister, now let's get to your party. You have repeatedly stressed that
I want to appeal to you. I just want to beg you.
Is the man for the job.
The note on which by which you ended, can I just appeal to you for 30 seconds to make a comment on the note by which you ended? Just 30 seconds, please, that you disagree with me. Now, can I just say that what I mean by that is that when you stand before a camera every morning to disseminate information to Nigerians, 90% of them are not trained in the sense that they have a certificate in journalism. People who read any kind of thing these days can be employed by any TV station or radio station, and all of a sudden, because they have the means by which they disseminate information, they become journalists in quotes. The same thing too, those who use social media handles who disseminate information every morning, we have seen many of them who are arrested, who are either harassed, which I don't agree with, and all of a sudden everybody rises up to say, don't harass a journalist, in quotes. So the same situation, those people who appear before cameras every morning, who don't have a certificate in journalism, who disseminate information, is the same position those people who have social media handles who disseminate news every morning through their handles, is the same position they find themselves. They are all in the business of disseminating information to the Nigerian public. So long as I choose the means by which to disseminate that information, nobody can claim the moral high ground to say, I have to appear before that person or through that person to get my message to the Nigerian people. I'm sorry, that's my view.
All right, but then they are not journalists. All right, so let's leave that aside. You've repeatedly stressed that Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is the man for the job. Why do you think is the man to beat in the 2023 presidential election?
Well, we have repeated this over and over, but we are not going to be tired of repeating it.
Absolutely.
That if you put all the leading candidates on a scale, and I say this not even because I am the spokesperson for the campaign council, and so my views are expected to be biased, but on an empirical basis, really, there is really nothing to say about the records of the other candidates that comes close to Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. They try to run away from it, they try to dispute it, they try to run it down, but it is staring at them in their faces. His record in public office, his record as a Democrat, his record in building democratic institutions and being faithful to those democratic institutions is unrivaled, almost unrivaled in the history of our country. Look at the other candidates and their infidelity to political platforms. One of them has been running since 1993, trying to be president of Nigeria, irrespective of where the zoning is. He has just put his interest above the interest of the country, consistently since 1993. He has disrespected his constitution of his party. He has always swung his argument to any side so long as he favors he's getting a ticket to run for president. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, in contrast, has always respected the zoning formula, has watched the political space carefully. Even when he had all the opportunity to pick presidential tickets, he was virtually the leader of the ACN to pick presidential ticket. He refused. He kept giving it to people who he felt were entitled to run as president at that time. That is an exceptional quality. He gave it to Ribado to run. He gave it to, other Northerners to run. Before, and even Atiku Abubakar himself, he gave tickets to him to run because he felt it was not his turn. He wanted, and that is the real unifier. So his record as a Democrat is unparalleled. We are even talking of the history of his democratic struggles, of which I was part of. I was officially the lawyer put in charge of NADECO by Chief Ganifa Emi. So I did all the NADECO cases. Chief Anthony Nahoro, Alfred Rwani, Ademola, of the former chairman of Lagos Island, all of those cases. I did the NADECO cases in Ganifa Emi's chambers. So I know the history of that. I was part of that struggle. We were arrested, we were detained on account of June 12. And we know our leaders then in NADECO, one of which was Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. So apart from those democratic records, when he now came to governance, and his records in Lagos State, unrivaled in the history of governance in Lagos. He was the 12th governor of Lagos State. And we have often repeated over and over the achievements of Lagos State. Are we going to start talking about all of the institutions he had to set up to deal with specific problems of Lagos State, the traffic situation in Lagos State, the rubbish, the heaps of debt in Lagos State, the transportation situation in Lagos State, and of course the turbulent bar beach in Lagos State, all of the efforts he made, and how Lagos has moved from one of the dirtiest cities in the world to one of the leading and fifth, largest economy in Africa. Are we going to say all of that? What are the records of these other people? Even in private business, people are saying that some people tout themselves as, oh, they were business, they have always known how to manage businesses. TVC, this TVC before, was given the license a year after Atiku's Gotel or whatever was given a license to run television stations. Where is Gotel today? That is how we can compare apples and apples. How did he manage his license and his TVC and his Gotel? How has Asiwaju managed his TVC today? What are the differences? It's clear. One is almost comatose, and TVC is an international brand. TVC has won laurels upon laurels upon laurels. Gotel has not won anything. So that is even managerial skill. Put apples and apples together. So nobody can come close to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in terms of performance, in terms of record, in terms of personality, in terms of the gravitas he has, to run that office. I am sorry, I apologize, but none of them can come close to Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right, let's touch on your geopolitical zone, which is the South-South. How do you think APC will fare in that zone, which, all along has been the stronghold of the PDP?
Well, there's one answer to you, one very simple and straightforward answer. We won Bayelsa State on the ballot 2 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago, we won Bayelsa. And we did not win it by a narrow margin, we won it by a wide margin. That state is at the heart of the South-South. That is to tell you the tremendous progress we have made. We're not just happy to get 35% or 25%. We won Bayelsa State outright. We lost it on technical grounds at the Supreme Court, based on the documents of the qualifications of the deputy governorship candidate, not even the governorship candidate. And they took Bayelsa away from us and gave it back again to PDP. So that's to tell you that on the ballot, we had entered the South-South states. Edo State was our state. The governor, because of internal squabbles that went to the PDP, that was the APC, the APC structures he took away, most of it. You know that yourself. And then, of course, so virtually he was in APC till the last minutes before he went to PDP. So Edo, Bayelsa, they had already been in APC. And of course, because of the works of President Buhari, Cross Rivers governor was convinced to come back, to APC. So you can see that here and there we are making tremendous inroads into the South-South. If you look at the 2015 results in Delta State, and then of course the 2019 results, we made tremendous progress in my state too. So state by state in Niger Delta, in the South-South states, we are making tremendous progress. And I want to let you know this, that South-South state is a low-hanging fruit going into this election. I followed Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu to Baramatu Kingdom. We landed in Warri, we took a private chopper, a place where no presidential candidate has ever visited. I went there to the heart of the militant zone with Asiwaju some 2-3 weeks ago. I went with him. And that is the kind of love and heart he has for the South-South people and their problems. And if you see the reception we received in Baramatu, we were giving chieftaincy titles. I was given one, Asiwaju was given one, my brother Abon Ogege was given. So, they welcomed us with their open hands. That is the kind of inroad we are making to the South-South. And with people like Adams Oshiomhole from the South-South, people like Obioma Agege from the South-South, like Akpabio from the South-South, the people like, Rotimi Amechi from the South-South, the governor of Cross River State from the South-South, Timipre Silva. We have very, very credible leaders from the South-South. I can assure you that South-South is a low-hanging fruit. South-South may just fall into the hands of the APC this time around.
All right, we're running out of time, but then let me quickly ask this. Your principal's health is a source of concern for many Nigerians. How worried should Nigerians be concerning this?
Pardon me, I didn't hear that, sorry.
Your principal's health continues to be a source of criticism. How worried should Nigerians be concerning this?
Who is a medical doctor? Have you seen his medical record? This is one of the most comical questions I come across every day. And it's so funny that they trumpet this question all the time, this issue, and of course by the opposition that is collapsing. They trumpet this all the time when it is, what is the issue about Asiwaju's health? He has gone to more states, attended more rallies, attended more town hall meetings than any of the other candidates who are supposedly fit. I don't understand. If you explain more to me, perhaps I will understand. What is the issue about Asiwaju's health? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I have not seen anything that suggesting anywhere at all that Asiwaju is not fit for the office of president. He keeps saying it, and I want to repeat it. Is he running? Is he contesting to go and do a boxing match or to go and carry bags of cement? Is that the office he's running for? Asiwaju is running for an office where we want to borrow his brain that he used for Lagos State. The nation needs that brain right now. We need that vision right now. We need that personality right now. We need that astuteness right now. We need that dexterity right now. That is what we want from him. Not his muzzle, not his muzzle. So, what are they talking about? I see, in fact, it's not a question that even deserves any answer until you show me a health record of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I mean, younger people have passed on. People who are supposedly healthy, they have passed on. So we cannot sit down in our homes and, push false narratives, and then, if you repeat a lie 1,000 times, all of a sudden people will begin to think that the lie is truth. That is the tactics employed by the opposition in respect to Asiwaju's health. They want to repeat it 1,000,000 times, and so it will now stick as the truth. Asiwaju is waving brooms all over the place. He's stomping campaign venues. Yesterday, after he left the venue in Niger State, when they were shouting, "You don't win, you don't win," he went to do 3 other events yesterday. Three other events, commission and office, campaign office, and some other events yesterday in Niger State. So where are all these stories coming from? I don't know.
All right, I still have a lot to ask you, but sadly we're out of time, and I'm definitely sure we're going to bring you back for more discussion on this. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Festus Keyamo, for coming on the program tonight.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. And that marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight. But the conversation continues from here. Get in touch with us on Twitter at TVCNewsNG and at Olajumoke WO using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Join us for the repeat episode at midnight and tomorrow for another edition of Politics Tonight, digging beyond the headlines. I am Olajumoke Olatuji. Goodbye.